Hi and welcome to Inside Line. I'm Toby Hagan and I'm joined by David McCowan. This week we'll be looking at whether people have fallen out of love with cars, the latest safety tech in cars and the third generation of a top-selling small car. First up though is our internet burnout. Now we've all seen how dangerous train crossings can be, but in this week's burnout it's about how embarrassing they can be. Now rumour has it everyone escaped without injury. Well, I'm tipping there may have been some red faces, Dave.
It certainly is an odd crash, this one. It looks to have happened in a small park where there's a bit of a tourist train going on that somebody's parked in the wrong place.
Yeah, it would have been a bit of fun filling out those insurance forms. Now on to more serious things, and in the US, new research suggests that more people are content to live without a car. The University of Michigan looked at car ownership in 30 of America's biggest cities and found that 9.2% of households did not have a car, up from 8.7% just 5 years earlier. Now, Dave, for a country that thrives on car ownership, this is reasonably significant.
It absolutely is. I mean, America has been a land in love with cars for such a long time, but people are moving away from that, particularly in big cities like New York, although in lots of places where there's a bit more space, people are tending to buy more and more cars as usual.
Yeah, I think cities like LA, which is just car land, that you basically need one to get around there, it still thrives there. But you know, some of those bigger cities where the public transport's better, and indeed it is more difficult to actually own a car in terms of the costs and so on. But it's also that younger generation which is really keen to move away from that. They're quite content not to have a car and just to get the technology and so on instead.
Well, there's two trains of thought there. One is that people are choosing not to have a car. The other is that they can't afford it. America's been on the back of a recession and things like that, and a lot of people are finding it difficult to get a job, so car ownership may not be something that they can do at the moment.
Indeed. Yet in Australia, record car sales, and we're on track for another record this year.
Absolutely. Australia does seem to continue its love of the car, and it'll be interesting to see what the market does this year.
Don't think I'll be giving up my car anytime soon.
No.
Now also this week is the latest development in car safety, with Subaru developing a camera that can recognise red lights. Now Dave, this would seem to have some fairly big applications.
Yeah, absolutely. Subaru is looking to reduce the reaction time of its EyeSight technology, which is a system that uses two cameras either side of the reversing mirror in a car that basically replicates what a human eye can do in terms of detecting 3D movement. Now Subaru have put in this ability to detect red lights so that when a car illuminates its brake lights, it has a chance to detect that and slow down before running into the back of the car.
But also, if it can recognise a red light, surely it can recognise, traffic lights.
Yeah, that's not something that they're advertising at the moment, but certainly that would be a very valuable feature in the car if it's able to stop the car from running through a red light if the driver's not paying attention. The
biggest thing for me with all these technologies is whether they actually work. I mean, we've seen, everyone wants the headlines with these technologies. They often work 90-95% of the time. I'm yet to find one of these newfangled technologies, these crash avoidance or warning technologies, that works 100% of the time.
That's right, and that's what you need. You need to be able to depend on this stuff. But for a lot of people, I suppose it's having a safety net there that is an extra layer that can help them in situations where they may be distracted or inattentive or tired, and those sort of things are one of the biggest contributors to crashes out there. So if we can reduce crashes based on inattention, then that's got to be a good thing.
Indeed. Now finally this week, Mazda has released the third generation of its popular 3 small car, and it seems to be a pretty convincing package. Now Dave, this car is going to be priced from just over $20,500. That's before on-road costs. So we're thinking about $23,000, $24,000 on the road. And Mazda's saying they're going to sell about $45,000 a year, which is pretty big numbers.
Well, Mazda's talking a bit of game about possibly being able to be the #1 best-selling car in Australia this year, which is something they've achieved twice before, I believe, with the Mazda 3. It's the right car for the right time. Australians are buying small cars in increasingly large numbers, and the Mazda 3 should bring some interesting developments in technology and fuel saving and that sort of thing that some of its rivals don't have, which could really strike a chord with the Australian market.
Mm-hmm. To me, one of the most interesting models is the top whack, the flagship version, which is going to sell for more than $40,000 on the road, which is the most expensive Mazda 3 that hasn't been a performance turbocharged model, being the MPS previously. So I'll be interested to see how many they sell. They're saying it's going to be more of a niche model, but it's a flag waver for the brand.
That will be interesting, and I've heard, talking to marketing managers and things for car companies, that the flagship models tend to sell quite well at the beginning of a model cycle when a new model comes out and people want to have the latest and greatest, but then definitely as things peter out, it's the base model cars that people are after, trying to get the maximum bang for their buck.
either way, I suppose we can expect to see plenty of Mazda 3s on the road.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for Inside Line this week. As always, you can read all the latest motoring news and reviews here at drive.com.au. And don't forget to join in the debate on our Facebook and Twitter feeds. See you next week.